welcome back. Your girl's been busy and I've been trying to hold it together, but I'm here. I'm tired. I'm feeling a little burnt out. This kitchen reno and trying to find a house and where we're going to move has been a thing. And so, yeah. But I'm here today. I have my kids' books, at least my 10th and 7th grader, and I'm going to talk you through where we are in homeschool, how things have been going, or what does that look like. If you don't know, I just reference grades because it's easier than saying my kids' names over and over and over. And maybe someday I'll get to the point where I don't care and I just say their names, but hey, that's what we're doing now. So for my 7th and 10th grader, I have their books with me. Hopefully I have all of them. I don't know if I do, but I just grabbed a bunch of stuff. And so today we're going to talk about where's our homeschool in March, as I know everybody is looking and searching for curriculum already for next year. We are still in the thick of it. So yeah, that's where we are right now. So I will say for my second oldest, who's in 11th, he is still working towards fully being loaded as an 11th grader to finish all his 11th grade coursework. I did record a video before this where I kind of went into more detail, but I re-recorded it, which is why this video is late, a whole week. I re-recorded it because I was like, yeah, I don't want to put all that out there. And so even though I've had some people comment on why it's taking forever with biology, but like I said, we have other things going on, personal things that, sometimes I'm not putting that all out in the street. So let's jump right in. As far as my 7th grader, he was taking logic with his homeschool group. So logic was done by the art of argument. Ouch. Logic was done by the art of argument. And I do have to say, this was a little rough in the beginning, but I feel like as time went on and the chapters got smaller, it was easier to take in and condense as a 7th grader. If you don't know, this is a high school 9th, 10th grade book. This is not for middle school. And so in classical groups, though, usually most of the stuff that they use is of a higher grade. And so all of these classes that they take, most of them run till May. So, and it's early May, usually the first or second week. We're done with that group, which is good because I love that I get a month extra at home just to kind of finish out all the things. So that is that. And then we have for him, he does Jack Krish Publishing. And this year, I know a lot of you were like, oh, I was using Christian Light Education for language arts and for reading. And I kind of scrapped that this year. Will I be going back to that next year? Stay tuned because we shall see. But for grammar, Growing with Grammar, this is by Jack Krish Publishing, and he is using level 7. Now, the reason why I went back to this is because the little book that's probably not in here. There's a little book that comes with this that I love. If I see it, I will show it to you. But Growing with Grammar, it breaks it down really well. The other thing that I like about this, versus having something that is just putting it all together in an LA curriculum, is that you really get to focus on what they need to master. And so for the chapters that he kind of already know that we have done on repeat for various amount of years, we are now slowing down into the harder things about grammar and really taking the time to do that. And so I like Jack Krish Publishing for that. When I do get grade 8, since that is the last level, I will do more of a full overall grammar thing. They have a chart online to show you like what they teach each year, which is really good. And so yes, we are in chapter 6 and it goes up to chapter 9. So we are not far from this being done. And like I said, once we finish this and then I order the other one, I will do like a review / why I'm kind of choosing to still continue this next year and not do Christian Night education, language arts. All right. That is grammar. When it comes to spelling, I am using the same book for grade 7, and it is Soaring with Spelling and Vocabulary by Jack Christ Publishing. This is another company that I definitely do love their price point, I will have to say. And so every week you get activities, but you also get a list for the week. And then you have 4 days of activities. You pre-test, retest at the end. You pre-test, retest, and then at the end you get to carry over any words that you got wrong. So you're still working on the ones that you got wrong. At this moment, we're on lesson 10. We might not make it to the end of the book by the summertime. Am I really concerned about that? Not really. Could he do it in the summer? He could. And so I have not made a decision on whether or not I am going to continue this in the next year. And so that's where my decision is with that right now. Here's the book that goes with the grammar for Growing with Grammar. So for every chapter that you go in, and we don't really do a lot of diagramming. He had one big year last year with a lot of diagramming, so he got exposed to it. It's not something that you necessarily have to really have in life. So it's like, one of those things where, so it gives you the title and it gives you all the rules for that chapter. And then this is like a companion to your child while they're doing their work, so that they can go ahead and use this right along with their grammar. This is also your type of teaching thing, even though they call it a student manual. So this is teaching your child, and then you're doing the work in the other book. You are allowed to get tests and quizzes with that, but because the books do have review, and like I said, stay tuned for that in summertime. Because they have like a chapter review 2 parts. It's like some of them have 2 parts to one chapter, and it's a review, and it's like 3 or 4 pages, which is a lot of review. So for me, I just use that as my, if you want to call it a quiz or whatever, that's what I use. So I didn't get the testing quizzes with that. When it comes to writing for my 7th grader, we were doing Wonders of Science writing lessons. I will say this, I decided not to start in the beginning. So we have jumped around this book. We are currently, guess what lesson we're on? We're on lesson 3. Why? Because I've been focused on grammar. So after we finish that grammar, which most likely it is the end of March now, most likely we will probably finish that grammar by same time around the first week in May. And so then we will start this, and we will do kind of like weekly writing in the summer. Usually in the summertime, I try to keep it to 2 subjects per child, and math is usually one of the subjects besides having to read. And so the other subject, it just depends on what that child didn't really get through for the year, because it's homeschooling. And when we homeschool, yes, we are, when we are homeschooling, our dates are never the same. And right now I have stayed at my mother's. I have to renovate this kitchen, trying to look for a house, trying to also prepare myself as I am cleaning and through areas of the house to just throw stuff out that I didn't need. And yes, cutie, my dog came in here. And so cleaning up my house, and our tenant moved out downstairs, so also cleaning down there, which has been a pain, y'all. I feel like I'm never going to get rid of just the smell of the overall apartment. Anyway, I'm off to the left side, okay? Not responding. Not talking about that, okay. So the next thing is that he was taking in the homeschool group is cartography. And so basically for cartography, he had maps that he would draw daily. So he had to draw, right now he's drawing Europe, which I think we started on the other side of the book. He's drawn this. And so some of the stuff he memorizes, yeah, right now he's just on Northern Europe. So it's like a part of it. And basically he writes the countries and the capitals or states and capitals and features, rivers, mountains. But I don't expect him to do that, even though some kids do. I don't expect him to do that. I'm just like, the states and the capitals are perfect and enough for me, for you to do. And most likely I will have him continue that next year, I believe, because I really like it. And because he really doesn't want to do art, I think I'm going to let him do the other half of the world. This year they do the first half of the world. So yeah, that's that. The next thing I will say is cursive logic. I do not have my child's book, Cursive Logic. We are almost done with this, so I do have a review coming out for you on this, on cursive. And so for me, I don't know if I'm going to continue this next year. I felt like for the older ones, I did use it, but I do want to do some type of cursive. I just don't know if I'm going to pick this one. I will say these are more so on the pricier side as far as cursive books are concerned, because you really don't have to spend that much. But I do like, for what they do, I do like them. And so he's still at like a not really concerned, doesn't want to really write, but it's coming along. And so is his handwriting, thank goodness. So I feel like him having to take his time with cursive is helping him to print better, believe it or not. So it's as weird as that sounds. But so we've talked about his cartography. We talked about logic. Oh, he's also doing astronomy. Right now he is studying scientists. So I don't have any of his projects because she collects them. And so I do have a plastic one. His last project was he had to make 20 note cards on Isaac Newton. And so this is the one he's working on, and had to make correct because he didn't put one fact per note card. He put 3 instead of, yeah. This is our agenda that we use. I will say next year I'm not buying any agendas, because I feel like the way we work and the way that I lay out the work weekly, this is what it looks like. And if it's in solid, that means that they have no work to do that day. So we are kind of like on a 4-day work week, I would say. And so, yeah, this is what it looks like. Our heavier days are definitely Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Honestly, next year I'm debating whether we are going down to 1 homeschool group versus 2, because yes, the workload gets heavier as you get older, but I also want to really choose things that they really need to take, especially my oldest going into 11th and my older one being a senior next year and graduating, and he wants to go to the Culinary Institute of America. So even preparing for all that and trying to do scholarships and all the things, y'all, SAT scores, SAT prep, all of that stuff. There's a lot going on, and I'm just trying to figure out whether running around all week is smart during the day, I would say, versus trying to find activities that are like after school hours, or friends that they already have that they can make their own time after school hours to kind of hang out, especially at this older age. And so, yeah, we're navigating. Okay. So we talked about logic. We talked about astronomy. We talked about cartography for him, spelling, grammar, writing. I will say math, think well, is going good. Is it going as fast as I thought it would? No, it's not. He is moving along, though. I do feel some of the things at this point, like I like Think Well, but I still have mixed reviews because I still feel like I wanted that physical book. And so if he does do Think Well next year, I probably am going to try it with the books, or I'm just going to print out the entire book, because you do get the PDF. And so we're doing Think Well. It's working, it's going. And that's, yeah, kind of what that looks like. I was trying to do another history on top of his cartography. That didn't work out, so we just had to scrap it. And at this point, so for history, he's reading books on the side in place of like a history. So currently reading History Smashers, the American Revolution. And so I just throw in history books here and there every so often. The only other thing that I will say that we have not really, what's the name, because of the screens, we're having a hard time adjusting. It's all right because I push through and I'm going to adjust, and we're going to learn how to adjust and not flip out and lose our cool. Also learn how to not take advantage of me as their mother / teacher and really setting boundaries. I feel like I became that mom that just did everything, and now everybody expects me to still do it, even as I'm getting older, even as they're getting older, and they could be doing more things. I do not like feeling like I am cleaning up after grown men. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a female thing, but me having all sons, and my youngest is 12, and yes, he still gets things when he needs them, because I'm like, he's still in that transition phase between. But yeah, I have my feelings about, anyway, that's another side note though. And so your girl is tired, and tired of just running and going and trying to fill all the pockets, and nobody's noticing that I'm filling the pockets. And in all of that, I'm still grateful because I have a roof over my head and a bed to sleep on, and a husband that works hard to go out and provide the things so I can homeschool. So in no way am I complaining. It's just that I feel like, even though men can say that they don't think a certain type of way as far as a woman in the home, I feel like it still kind of exists sometimes. So in their brain. Anyway, so that's that. Let's move on to my 10th grader. And we'll start with this guy, Denison. He is through Denison. He is actually on chapter 11. Yeah, like right here. So he has this much left to finish in Denison, and he will be going straight into Algebra 2 with Denison. We are not playing with that. And so I'm also considering putting my 7th grader in pre-algebra with Denison next year, or by the summer when he starts. But also with reviewing, I feel like I need a good supplemental math that's still reviewing all the things and like really mastering those rules, especially when it comes to, he had a hard little time with like negatives and positives, but I think that comes over time of just doing it more. And so sometimes I feel like these math curriculums, they don't give you enough more. I know one company that does, Saxon. They do. They give the more, like extra. And so for my 10th grader's writing, he is same with the other one. We have not started this, but he is also doing the IEW, but it's advanced writing. So it makes sure that you're doing stuff like alliterations and personification and putting that in your writing. So before he was doing this, we actually got something from On Teachers Pay Teachers that actually reviewed all that figurative language. And we're actually reviewing figurative language now in poetry and like poetry and music and songs. It came with a lot of stuff. It's very, very cool. Very cool. Spanish, he's doing this at his homeschool group. He has already voiced that he wants to take Japanese next year. So this will be his 2nd year of Spanish that he completed. And that's that. He is also doing Not Consumed Health. And I really enjoy this. I will say, because we have to have 3 credits in health in New Jersey, I am loving the simple yet good health with a lot to it. And so I'm definitely looking at another smaller health next year, like Gather Around or something along those lines, because I don't want it to be something that's taking over our day. As with this, he will almost be done this as well. And so you will hear my review on that coming out soon by not summer, because it's not summer, but like May, June. When it comes to history for my 10th grader, he is using the Critical Thinking Company. I am very happy with this right now. Very happy. And this is book 1. And so believe it or not, we started this later in the year. And so we are about halfway through the book. So, but this is only book 1. And so during the summer, he will be going into book 2 and finishing that. And yeah, so this is U.S. history. In order to make this honors, though, which I believe I told you guys that before in my 10th grade video, he is keeping a president's journal. And so he did some things on the Constitution. Let me see if I can see a page. And so, yeah. Sorry. I have a lifetime membership to notebooking.com. And so it has a picture of the president, and he's just doing a page on the president. Some presidents, sorry, I keep knocking the camera. Some presidents are a half page depending on like their importance. Yes, I did ChatGPT make me a list of presidents, like who should my child spend more time on versus the ones where it's like, oh, they weren't really that important. Okay. And then his main source for the presidents is this the American President book. And so these things have everything in it, like little information on battles that they were part of, also timelines that run along the bottom there. And then each president gets an introduction page, if I can find one for you. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Each one gets an introduction page with all the information on there, general information. And so that's what goes with this history to make it an honors history. Also, this, which I said for my 7th grader, also for my 10th grader, his is speeches in American history, though. And so this goes with his history as well. And he has almost done this also. I will say from the time of starting the other book to this writing, I will say there is a complete where you almost can't tell which writing is the book's or his. This cursive thing is, yeah, worth it because, so this is like the starting, my younger one. Yeah, this is the beginner book. And then, so this is the continuation book. And I believe they have presidents. I believe they have information about, there's one book that's about the presidents, and there's one book about, it might be science, I'm not sure. But there's another one of writings that you can do after you go through the first book. So he is almost done with this. And out of this whole book, when it does come, it reviews the letters, which is cool. And so out of this book, let me show you. This is the beginning writing versus the one I just showed you. So you make improvement over time, definitely. I'm trying to see how many people were in this book. Oh, here we go. There you go. So this is the names of the people that you're writing about, or their speeches or words that they said in history. And so that, I love that book. When it comes to, I feel like I should pull out his agenda because I feel like that will help me. So I talked about math and history and all the things. Let me get this agenda, which I'm going to hit my camera again. There you go, because it's sitting under my camera. So I make sure I tell you about everything. Everything. And then I will go back to the 2 things that are really not on my side this year, that I'm like deciding next year that I'm not doing that. So yeah, we'll chat about that in a minute. And so here we go. This is his. And so he talked about math. Oh, chemistry. Chemistry, we are starting as we speak. So chemistry will run into the summer. I'm a little worried that he definitely will be finished math. And I'm wondering whether I shouldn't let him start Algebra 2, or should we just start and take a break and finish the other 2 during the summer? I don't know. But chemistry will run into the summer. And it might just be the labs, not necessarily the videos and quizzes and tests, but it might be like the labs, that the lab and the lab works that go with them. We're going to kind of do it a little bit different this time after I'm finishing biology. And then after we finish chemistry, I will kind of feel like what's the best way to do Journey Homeschool Academy when it comes to using them for your homeschool. So cursive I did, history I did, his journal I did, Writing I did. Art, he takes art. Also, introduction to art history, and he also takes art 2, which for in his fine arts homeschool group with drama and dance and chorus. He does a lot on that, which he still wants to do next year with all this stuff. So, yeah. The last thing is American Lit and IEW Fix It Grammar. Fix It Grammar, I will say this is the one that really made me be like, ooh, this is a good. Yeah, this is good. We're finally in the part of the book, which is probably page like 130, 140. Oh, this is my book. 130, 140, where we're getting to making actual punctuation corrections. And this was something for me where I felt like IEW was like, oh, there's no, in the beginning, like there is commas, quotation marks, in the beginning, apostrophes, capitalization, and little stuff. But they're really like, as it goes on to the last ones, there are more things that they have to correct, and they actually have to write how many. Like, so it really starts to pick up in this level. I think this is level 5. And so I don't know if I'm going to continue to give them level 6 next year, only because there are other things that need to prioritize, and I feel like they've had a good run of grammar. I'm also really kind of more focusing on my 7th grader going into 8th grade, because I actually want to knock grammar off the table for him. And if I do give him anything, I will like start him with this level for him to use for like, yeah, I don't want to say 2 years, but like spread it out to where he can use it just to keep him fresh, not something that he will really be working through crazily every day. And so that is Fix It Grammar. That's the last. Now, American Lit. We are using Sunlight. We are going to go back to Sunlight. I am going to use it a different way, but we are going to read through the books because I have the books for American Lit. I will have to put out my thoughts about Sunlight's curriculum later on in the summer, after I kind of like move my way through it. I feel like it is set up great. It's there for you. It's made for you. But the reality of us discussing what he's reading every day was a little rough. And I know you probably can get away with not doing it every day, but I felt like it mostly did not fit into our schedule. But he's still going to read the books, and we're going to see what happens from there. Okay. The last thing I will say is for my 7th grader, because I didn't mention his reading, it's up in the air. I'm trying to figure out whether I am going to go back to Christian Light Education next year and do level 7 and 8 in his 8th grade year, or whether I'm going to scrap it and try something different. And so we shall see as time goes on. Y'all, I didn't realize that my bed was in this shot. Look at my desk. And so as time goes on, I'm going to really try to do more reviews this year as it ends, because that is something I know that I have been failing at, and I haven't really been given the like, oh yeah, we use this. Let me tell you about it, how it went for the year. I haven't been doing that. So I'm really going to be doing more of that for you guys and making sure that you do get that information. So if you want to use it in your own homeschool, that's what I'm here for, right? Right. I'm your girl. And so as we are all looking, and I take the time to look from every so often, I will be dropping a reel on Instagram talking about like either free resources that I have found that you could possibly use in your homeschool. For my 8th grader next year, even though it's an important year, I'm really trying to keep my budget to a minimum, because for my 2 older ones, I'm definitely thinking about putting them online for some classes. My older ones are going to go into pre-calc outside of Denison, or we're going to do the advanced class with Denison, and I don't know. So we'll see, though. We'll see, because Denison is working so good, and I don't know if I just, I don't know if I want to leave Denison, because it's treating us so well. And so that is the update. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And as I said, thank you guys for coming along. I do have a video dropping Friday for you guys. It's something new. It's a shorter video and it's less time for me to edit. So we will see how it goes. So hit that subscribe. Come along. Let's journey. Let's go. Guys, I will check you out in my next video. Bye.